All right. We are back for your next episode. Oh man, like we have a whole podcast now.
Yes.
Like a whole podcast. Like there is like several episodes. I mean, like you know, we were just starting it.
Yeah, I know. I was actually talking to somebody and they were like, I guess a few months ago I told them that we'd started it, and then they like asked me again about it. And I was like, yeah, we have like 12 episodes now. And he was like, what?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's becoming something.
It's a whole podcast. Who would have thought like really doing it weekly has made it like the number count like drastically jump.
Yes.
You know, we started out doing it bi-weekly, and now it's like, hey, let's do it weekly. It makes us have to spend more time together. Got to spend time with this guy, so it's no, it's great. It's great.
We haven't gotten tired of each other yet.
Yeah.
So.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
It's not happening in like what 8 years.
Yeah, I know. Well, especially considering like in that first like 2 years, we were always together.
We really were.
So
like, man, good times.
Yeah, it was good times.
Good times. Oh man. So, $1 million question is, what is this podcast about?
This podcast is us being parents. Not together.
Yes, us being parents. Yes. Before we continue about this, if you're watching this video, like, subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Exactly. Comment. Tell us what you want us to talk about.
Share.
Exactly.
Also, if you comment, we will definitely comment back. We will have full conversations with you. So.
Full conversations. If you disagree with any of our points, we'd love to hear the disagreements. Let's talk about it. Yep. Your disagreements will help us become better, and maybe we can help you become better, and that's really what it's all about.
Yep, and potentially we could even have you on an episode of the podcast.
Yes. And if you're listening to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever your choice medium to listen to podcasts, again, like, share, subscribe, rank. Like, you know, we're trying to grow this very organically. We want to have, we want it to go places. We want it to, be able to reach as many people as possible. But again, as we said from the very get-go, if it's only just me and him listening to it, I'm totally fine with it.
That's enough.
I'm having a good time.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Us becoming parents.
Yes.
Okay, so I think there's a step that happens before that. You have to find...
we skipped that.
Yeah. You have to find someone. So I guess that might be a good place to start, though. So, like, what would we be looking for in a partner that we would think that this is someone who we can even...
Like, have kids with?
Yeah, because to me, having kids is an impossible task.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be perfect. You're going to screw up. Like, those are the inevitabilities of being a parent. So, the thing is, you're supposed to be a team effort, though.
Right.
So, you're actually hoping the person you choose to become a parent with is someone who is strong where you're weak, and vice versa.
Right.
So.
Yeah, yin yang, and you kind of make up for each other's weaknesses. Yeah, I'm with you.
So, what would you be looking for in a woman that you would be like? What would be that thing that's like, it would click in your mind that like, wow, I could see me wanting to have kids with you?
Someone that does not give up. So, I feel like I am that way. So, some things you look for in the other person need to match what you have, match what you bring to the table. Some of it needs to make up for what you don't. But the one thing that I think I have that I would need matching is definitely someone that doesn't give up. Whether that's on our relationship, after we have a big fight, or after I make a huge mistake, or whatever. Because I'm going to make mistakes. Some of them are going to be bigger than others. That's just, I'm a realist, so I just know that's going to happen, and I want to know that we can work together and grow from it rather than it actually sink the relationship, especially after you have kids, right? At that point, you're doing a disservice to your kids if you're not going to choose to grow from your mistakes together. So I think that's probably my biggest thing. And then also, I want a conscious decision from both of us to decide to grow together, even if our lives are taking separate paths at whatever time.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of piggybacked on what I was going to say off it. Like, I'm in such a building phase right now.
Yeah, I know.
Building phase. We had a whole conversation before this.
Yeah.
And so I kind of want her to be in the building phase because I want us to come together as builders and be able to build something stronger greater and higher and more, fortified better, like together. But it's hard to be a builder if she's not also a builder.
Right.
Then I had to teach her how to build, which I'm not trying to like be teaching her how to build per se, because I want us to come together already building. It's fine. I mean, if like I said, that's me. She's probably not the one I want to have kids with. I want it to be us both building in that same, at least mindset. We could be building completely different things, but I want her to already know how to build.
Yes.
Because I'm already struggling to complete my learner's permit on building, and it is a difficult process.
So you want someone that has their own vision.
Yes. Ambition, I think, is, for me, as I've been getting older, ambition is the thing I think that attracts me to women the most.
Okay.
It's like, man, when you say that you're trying to do this and you're going and getting this, I'm like, something in me starts stirring. So I'm like, ambition.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
So for me, the thing that I would need to make up for my weakness, I think there are times that I'm too logical and I kind of rely on that side of myself too much. So I would need them to have that feeling, the emotional side, to kind of bring me back to, okay, well, be in this moment with me. Stop thinking about this as, well, this does not equal this, and therefore blah, 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 right?
Fair, yeah.
I need you to take me back and honestly be gentle with me, right? Because I might fight you, and you're just going to have to guide me with you. It's kind of how I think about that.
Your weakness. I would say I'm very impulsive. Like, I'm one of those people, like, I get it in my mind, all right, let's do it right now, let's go for it. And that can be a good quality sometimes, but sometimes it can be a terrible quality. Absolutely terrible.
No doubt.
So I would probably need someone who is more of a, hey, let's stop and think about it. Let's evaluate some pros and cons.
Yes. Let's make a list.
Let's make a list. I think that would, let's slow down. Like, this is a good idea, but let's make sure it's a great idea. It's an idea we need to pursue together.
Yes.
So I think that would be a really, really great thing that she can bring to us trying to bear children. That's what it's about. We're trying to bring little humans in here that are going to become successful adults. That are going to be adults who can actually go out and help this world become a better place.
Right.
So how do you do that?
How do you do that? I know. It's a big question, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's figured that out.
No, not completely. I think we all do the best we can at the time. Sometimes we look back on it and we're like, that was
horrible. What was I thinking?
Yes, yeah. But sometimes we're like, you know what? I did that part of it right. And I don't know. I think for me, I feel like I had amazing parents. And so when you ask me how did he do that, my mind automatically goes to how my mom and my dad raised me, and you kind of have to go from your own background, right? That's your baseline. That's what you're comparing everything else to, and so I always say that my mom taught me how to feel, and my dad taught me how to love. So if I can just do those two things, honestly, with my child, then I think that they will be on good footing to actually start taking their own steps into the world.
Your mom taught you how to feel, and your dad taught you how to love.
Yes.
So I think what would be the things that my parents, to break it down so eloquently that you did, I would say my dad probably definitely get my work ethic from him. Yeah, my dad had.
You have a work ethic.
Yeah, he definitely had a work
ethic. You
ethic.
never sleep.
Yeah.
So.
He had a work ethic that's second to none, and I like to kind of pride myself in having a work ethic that's second to none. With my mom, I would say probably the thing that I got from her most is her passion. Like, my mom's a very passionate person. And we argue a lot because we're both very passionate people. I enjoy it, she doesn't, not as much. But I definitely get my passion about it. So for me, when you take the hard work and the passion, you bring them together, it becomes an unstoppable force. Because it's like, I'm going to outwork you and I'm going to love doing it at the same time. So it's like, there's really no defeating me. I feel like that's what makes, that's what helps make the people who we adore, the LeBron James and Michael Jordans of the world. Like it's not only that they're gonna be in the gym before you and after you, they're gonna love doing it as well.
Yes.
It's not a chore for them. It's
exactly.
We're just gonna do that. So
yeah,
that's definitely some of the things that they taught me and stuff. So then, what kind of parent do you see yourself becoming right now?
Such a hard question. I know there are certain things that are important to me, and I know that I've read a ton of psychology books and everything to like develop opinions on when I do finally become a parent. And I realize that I was about to say when I'm ready to be a parent, but I don't think anyone ever is really ready to be a parent. You just kind of get there, and then you start
Parenting. Start parenting. Whether it's poorly or greatly, you start parenting.
You just keep swimming.
Very fair.
And I think it depends, right? So in our society, I think that we have a problem with men in the area of being able to feel, being able to express pain, things along those lines. And like I said, I think that's what my mom did a good job of helping me with, because when I was younger in elementary, middle schools, and stuff like that, I got made fun of all the time for being a geek, basically. And I'm still a geek, but I own it more now.
He still is a geek.
Yes.
We both are.
Exactly. I think that we've all been bullied, so I think you can kind of understand what I'm saying when I say that. We get bullied for different things, though, sometimes. But what my mom was really good at was not letting me leave until I talked about what happened, how that made me feel, what that made me think about myself, and how that made me feel about the people around me. All of which are integral into seeing who you are in relation to the world around you. And so, especially if I have a boy, then what I would want to do is make sure that he is comfortable in situations that have emotion in them, and that he's able to express that, and that he's not afraid to do things like cry or tell me about a terrible experience that he has, and to be able to tell me about his pain so that we can work through that together. I think when you express pain to someone and they help you work through that, you grow so much more. And I think that's even doubly or quadruply so when it's with a parent, right? Yeah. Now, if I had a girl, I don't know. If I had a girl, what I would want to make sure of is doing my best to negate how society tells us to feel about our bodies. I think that society really is terrible to girls because we view them as only having value upon beauty, and that's just not true. Or it's not true when it's only outward beauty that you were talking about.
Physicality.
Yes, physicality. So if you're talking to me about how someone is absolutely beautiful and you're telling me about who they are and that is why, then I'm totally with you about beauty. But if you tell me, oh, they're a 9'10", they have this size, never mind. But if they're telling me that, then I'm kind of like, I don't know if we kind of agree on what beauty is in that context. And that's what I would want to try to help reinforce with my daughter, about what actually is beauty and how to always help her feel beautiful.
See, I feel like I have a little bit of a leg up on you because I feel like I'm already a father. A little bit. Like I don't actually have kids.
Because your sister.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do not have kids. But I do have that when I was 12 years old, my mom and dad had another child. It was a girl. So I have two older brothers. And so then she was the girl of him. I'm already 12. I'm a whole, fully developed person, or a little young person at that point. and I took on roles that were, you know, bigger than most brothers do.
Yes.
Like the amount of diapers I changed, the amount of times I was there for her, the amount of times I woke up in the middle of the night to hold her and stuff like that. Then she becomes a dancer and like all the shows and the bags I'm carrying, all
Always
the
there.
things. Like literally, I decided to stay at home in college because she was 5 when I was leaving for college, 6 when I was leaving for college, and so it was like if I go off to college for 4 years, like I come back, she'll be 10, 11, and then it's like I'm gonna have missed all that time because I'm only coming home for Thanksgivings and Christmases, and I'm missing really critical developmental times in her life. And I had a brother who did do that. Like he left when she was around like 6, and he missed so much of her, and so they're not nearly as close as they were. But I stayed, and it was tough because I'm, you know, commuting back and forth to college, then all the like I said, the recitals and this and that. Like I missed one recital. She has been dancing. She's 5 years old. She's now 16 years old. It's 11 years. I missed one, and she won't let me live it down. She won't let me live it down. She will not. Because she was like, and it was even at Georgia Tech. And I was like, I'm sorry. I was like going to get an internship.
That's
like,
so much worse. It was at Tech.
It was at Tech. It was literally like I was in Charlotte at the time because I was going for an energy conference in order for me to get an internship for that summer. And she never let me live it down.
Right.
But you know, those are really good moments. I feel like these last few years since she's become like really over the age of 13, it's been really tough because again, like boys get into the picture, and all this kind of stuff, and girls are very much different than. So a daughter would be different than a son because I think daughters make you really reflect on the type of man you have been. I think sons make you reflect on the type of man you want to become, but daughters are like, man, if I ever did a girl wrong, or I ever made her cry, or anything like that, you just feel like you're gonna get it 10 times worse in the daughter that you have. So with her and just like her dealing with guys and trying to give advice, trying to give her the game of what it's like to date and stuff like that, it's been a lot. And then now she has like this boyfriend. She's had him for a while. Like
I didn't know she had a boyfriend.
Yeah,
You didn't tell me that. You gotta be kidding me.
I'm sorry.
We did Skype calls while I was in Grenada. We played like word games on Wikipedia. Do you remember this?
I'm just gonna blame COVID-19.
Wait, when did this happen?
December 19th.
Huh? What?
Yeah.
You can't blame that on COVID.
Shh. I'm blaming COVID. She didn't want anybody to know for a minute, but
this guy.
Yeah, she has like this whole boyfriend and stuff like that, and it's like when COVID hit and stuff like that, obviously they're both indoors, so they never see each other. So it's like she's talking to him a lot on the phone, and I mean, there's that factor, but it's like she spends so much time like speaking with him. It's like me and her relationship has taken a hit in terms of time we spend, and then plus I'm doing so much now, and I'm all over the place. It's like I also have less time for her, so it's like I'm seeing like our time, but then but she's gonna grow up. I'm growing, doing my own thing as well. So it's like I can't imagine that was like actually my daughter. Like it's even like just starting to sound like it's like I want to spend more time with you. I want to do this and that, but I'm also trying to build things for you and stuff. And it's like I want this dude to be treating you good, and it's like I'm gonna want to beat him up sometimes, and then it's just
Hey, if you want a tag team, just tap in. Cool.
And it's a lot, and so then now, like I've noticed that as she's getting older, when we do have a problem, it's a bigger problem.
Gotcha.
So it's like our relationship has to constantly evolve and stuff like that. And there's like certain things like I'll see in her, and I'm like, man, like you have become this whole person that's so amazing in this, and that, and like I'm super proud of her. But then there's also this complete opposite spectrum, like you're developing things. I'm like, I don't like that in you. But then it's like, it's not my life to live. Yeah. So it's this completely different spectrum that like it wasn't this 6 years ago.
Right.
And so it's like, to me, that's so hard of like, how can I make it's like, because I can't go back in the past and change who I've been to her. So I kind of just got to let go. And
I don't know, you should. From everything I've heard, I think that you were.
I mean, but there's things that you always be like, I could have did that a little bit better. I could have been at the Georgia Tech recital. Like I could, but you see what I'm saying? Like you're always gonna look back and see those things. And so it's like I kind of just gotta let go and just depend upon what I've done in the past to hopefully guide her into her future, and that our relationship will change. It doesn't mean it's gonna get worse. It's gonna be different. Right. It's not gonna be what it was 5 years ago.
I also think that your family has done a great job of instilling in her what is a good person, and she's in that point now where she has to process herself who she actually wants to be. So
that is fair.
And I guess that's parenting too. Is there's a point where like you have to let go of how much influence you have, and you just have to let the person in front of you actually decide who they want to be.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yes.
That is scary.
Because that's when you're helpless.
Completely helpless.
Yes.
Completely. It's like, even to the point like when I get mad at her now, it's like, cause it's like, okay, cause I get mad at her and then she'll say something or it's like, she'll do something and I'm like, I'm mad at her, and then all I'm thinking about is like, you know, all the time I have spent investing in you. Like, you know how many times I've been at a recital carrying these bags, dealing with these snotty nosed kids and stuff like that when I could have been doing anything. This was in college too. Some of it, it's like I could have been, I mean, not that I could have been part, but I could have been part of it. Like,
yeah,
just so much. It's like, you know, I've sacrificed relationships for her. I've sacrificed so much, and then it's like, you have the nerve to get mad at me about this? Like, my 20s were dedicated to you. Like, seriously. And so it becomes that frustrating factor, and it's like, so like I said, when you have a problem, it becomes a bigger problem because now I'm seeing the foresight of how much I've risked for her.
Yeah.
And it's like she's not seeing that yet, but she's 16 years old. What 16-year-old does see that? So then it becomes, okay, step back.
We did. That was us. We were like, I see everything.
I definitely didn't. I thought I saw everything, but I actually was really seeing nothing.
Yeah. Yep. You always think you see more than you actually do.
You're always blind. That's what I've come to realize. You were just. But yeah, so it's really hard for her. But I mean, overall, I think I did my best for. I think I did a really good job. Being who she needed me to be as, I mean, obviously I'm not her father, but as at least just a male figure. And I think my relationship with her touched upon something a little bit greater than just being a brother. Maybe not, like I said, but then financially, like I said, money, like I've been the step below whatever a father is to her. You know, some would argue that, you know, I've been better than 50% of fathers that are out there. You know, so it is what it has been. So I've kind of seen what it's like to be with a girl. And like I said, there's so much beauty in raising a girl. I think, you know, when you're a father and you have a daughter, like, when you do it right, like, that worth factor, it's just, there's nothing, like, the value you feel, like, when you hear them, like, start speaking like you, or they say something that's like you, it's like, it's a little bit, it's something that nobody can ever take away from you. So that's really, but then on the son, on the other hand, so I don't have that experience per se. Yeah. But like, I guess with a son, when you're just looking at yourself, when you think about a son, you start thinking about who you've been as a man. Like, what is man, and then what is being a man? Like,
what is being a man?
And so, you know, if I was gonna say there's really something that, you know, most men or a good majority of men share in common, I would say that we're given this world and we feel responsible in trying to make it into something else. Like, we don't ever feel that this current world is adequate enough. And so we're always trying to constantly do this, do that, do something else to make it into what we perceive to be the world that we think is better. And so I think that same thing translates into our sons, or what we're trying to do for our sons. We're trying to, you know, build this world that our sons can be proud of, so then they can add on to building it. You know, we're trying to build a building and then hope they come behind it and make it into a skyscraper.
Right.
You know, and then hopefully your grandson comes into it and now it's in outer space. Like, that's what I think most men are trying to do. Like, the ones who have good intentions and, you know, who are trying to be great fathers, because that's very important for, like I said, I mean, fathers are important in every child's life. But I feel like what ends up happening is you see the importance of a father in a girl very young, but you see the importance of a father in a boy a little bit later. So, like, I think when a girl gets like around 10, you know, you really start seeing like how important a father was, and then you start seeing, you know, the action she makes because she did or didn't have a father. I think it starts becoming around like 16, 18 with the boy, like in that stage. And again, I could be completely wrong. I have no statistics or anything. This is just coming from life experience and my small sample size of that. I think Like, I realized how important it was my relationship with my father when I started getting like 16, 17, 18, even into my 20s.
Yeah.
You know, because when you do or don't have a father, you think I want to say, a lot of times we mythicize our fathers. So if he wasn't there, we either think that he was a demon,
right.
like straight from hell, like, or if he wasn't there, we're trying to think, well, there was this grand purpose why he wasn't there, because he was fighting for glory and honor, and he was doing this, he was liberating people in some foreign country.
He was a secret agent.
Exactly. So we mystify them if we don't have them,
right.
but then we also mystify them if we do have them. So like, if they're a good father, we make them Superman. We make them that you made no mistakes. It's Black Panther. It's what T'Challa thought of T'Chaka, his father. My father was a great king. He couldn't have made any mistakes. He was so proud of him. And his father had made a terrible mistake that the movie comes to, bring forth. But it's like, in either way, we're taking this pedestal and putting our fathers on it. And they're people in themselves.
Yes.
And so that's what our children are going to do for both me and you. We're going to be the strongest men in the world. We're going to be infallible. We're going to be, perfect until they realize that we're not.
Mm-hmm.
And that moment is something that scares the living shit out of me. It's like, how do you go from a god to a human?
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like?
That's a demotion.
It's a huge demotion. It's like you go from being that they're the everything in your eyes to, it's like, my dad was okay.
Yeah.
And then they probably
start comparing you.
They start comparing, and then and it's an unfair comparison that they usually probably do, because if you're right here and they thought of you like here, they usually put you right here.
Yeah.
And so they like really debase you.
Well, it's not only that; they'll start comparing like very particular things of others, right? But they won't look at everything else that you did around that they didn't do. They're only comparing that one point. Like, well, yeah, maybe on that point I could have done better, but on all these other things, I was right here. And
they only look at your bad too. That's the thing. They're only gonna look at that one time out of the million that you were terrible.
Exactly.
The one recital that you missed. the one recital. The one. She's had at least 100 of them. At least. I was there for 99. I got a 99 out of 100 on that test.
I know. I was there on 2.
You were there too. He's gotten a 2. Okay? He got a 2. He got a Georgia Tech a 2 on the test.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, no, but it's honestly though, I think it's really good because she does push me for that 100%, push me for perfection.
Yes.
You never get there, but like the having that push is like, even. So I do a lot. Like as you know, I don't get as much sleep as probably is healthy, but it's like a lot of times like I'm doing it for my family, and I don't have a wife and kids.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like for my mom, my brother, my sister, is like I'm going out here trying to build something that is for them that they can, revel in. That my children, my unborn children, and my unmet wife, build something for them that they're trying to, that they can be proud in, and that they can aid in it. They can help build. I built this bedroom. Can you build another bedroom? Mm-hmm. Can you build the attic? Can you build the basement?
Make the artwork.
Exactly. Can you decorate it? I'm trying to build something that gives us all, just a sense of purpose, a sense of glory, it's a legacy. Kind of going back to that ancestor family legacy thing that we talked about several episodes ago.
Yes. And
to me, I think when I start having a conversation about what it means to be a father, and this is something that my mind has shifted, really this last month, is that I am no longer living just for me right now, because I'm living right now to build a world that my son, daughter will live in. That is where I'm at right now. What I'm doing today, every single day of my life right now, is going to change the world that they live in. Whether I do nothing or I do something, it is going to change that world that they live in.
That's a powerful mindset.
So it's like, I'd rather be doing something. So because guess what? You know what's going to happen? They're going to be 15 years old. And they're going to be reading about George Floyd in their textbook. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be like, what were you doing, Dad? Because guess what? I go to my grandparents and say, well, do you remember Martin Luther King? Do you remember Rodney King, Mom? Do you remember, what were you doing? And when those answers disappoint, that's when, again, that child stops seeing you in that light that you
Right.
want them to see you in.
Right.
And so it's like, I know, like with my children, I want them to be like, what was my dad doing? And I wanted to be like, wow, my dad was like, wow. Like, that's what I really wanted to be like. That's what he was doing when he was in his 20s.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be like, that's the standard for them. Like, that was, he didn't even set the bar, he set the standard. So I know I have to at least work that hard. And it's doable. Like I said, I'm very much so a happy person. Like, especially I would say right now I'm at my happiest I've ever been in life. Which is a very big claim, you know? Next podcast might not be the same. It might be saying something completely different, but I'm at the happiest of my life during a pandemic.
Yeah.
And that's because I think in this pandemic I found a lot of my purpose, who I am, and I've seen how much obstacles can be thrown at me and how I can jump over them. And I didn't just jump over them, I can jump over them with ease because I'm strong. You know, 2019 might not have been, I might not have seen that strength because I never had to jump over as many obstacles.
Right.
So it's
yeah.
You know, and I think that's big when it comes down to fatherhood. I think like really going and exploring who you are, how strong you are and how weak you are, and what you're willing to do with those strengths and weaknesses to bring them towards that child. Like, what does that look like on a day-to-day basis? Because you're building it right now. I mean, literally, right now, you're building it. So
get out the hammer.
You're building it like your child. Like I said, the world when your child is 15 years old and they say this part of the world is crappy, and there's going to be something that's going to be crappy.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you do 15 years prior to them being born to make that a little less crappy? Because are you going to be a person who said, well, you know, I was just living my life and stuff like that, or you'd be like, hey, it could have been this bad, but guess what? People, we took this moment and made it a movement, and so it was this crappy, but now it's this much better because of the things that me and my generation did do. Are you gonna be able to give that to your child? That's up to you.
It is.
You know, are you gonna sit on that sideline? I've been on the forefront for my entire life, and I want to be on it till the day I die, to try to make this world a better place, make this world what I know it can be. It's not that hard.
Frontline's the best place to be.
Yeah, in any war. All right, I think we will have to transition to our movie reference.
Yes.
So
I think it's time.
It is time. So for movies, or television, I guess we gotta go. We gotta go top fathers in movies and television. We gotta go top fathers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not ready yet.
Yes.
Are you
Okay.
ready? I'm still searching.
I'm definitely gonna go the most controversial of the bunch, and I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off with that. I'm sorry if you guys been Bill Cosby. I'm sorry. From the Cosby Show, he was a phenomenal father. Like, absolutely the best advice. Absolutely loved his kids. Gave them everything in the world. Was a phenomenal father. Also had a phenomenal wife in Felicia Rashad. Fantastic. They were a phenomenal power couple that really raised those children. Fantastic. Just from a purely television standpoint, great father. Like, no one can debate that. That is one of the greatest shows to ever come on TV. And we have to learn to separate art from the person. Because guess what? We are not, like I said, when I get actors, I don't go find an actor based upon, oh, are you actually this person? Are you actually a superhero? That you're playing a superhero part? No, I find that you can act this part. Okay, I don't know anything about these people's personal lives. Like, at the end of the day, we really don't. These people be terrible people. I'm going based upon your acting ability. It's the same thing as when you go get hired from a job and you give a resume. Are you actually that person on the resume? Are you actually, you could be doing terrible things.
You're not. It's a representation.
It's a representation.
Yeah.
So they're trying to see what are your qualifications and can you do that. So that's my first one. Bill Cosby, Cosby Show, best father on television that I think we've ever seen.
Yes. Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, you ready for mine? The Avatar, Last Airbender. He's not actually father, but Zuko's uncle. Yes.
You can call him his father because the actual father was terrible.
Yes, yes.
Actual father was terrible. He has a scar on his face that proves it. Great show.
Amazing show.
I need to watch that again.
Yes.
Immediately.
It's on Netflix.
It is.
It's on Netflix.
It is.
you know what? I would almost compare him to Uguay. Like, he has some of the most powerful statements in that show, and it's always in an effort to guide, and he always does it in a way that's like humorous or lighthearted,
Mm-hmm.
which I find that the wisest people that I see or that make me feel that they're wise always impart wisdom while they were doing it in a lighthearted manner. Like, it's not that important. Like, it's not as important as it feels right now.
That's fair.
And he's just so forgiving, and he always saw the best in him, right? When you can see the best in someone, that that is apparent, right? When we go out, first thing that happens when we meet someone new is my parents start bragging on me. They say,
yes, that's very true.
They say, guess who's a doctor?
Yes, a doctor.
Yes. They brag so much, and it's not in the way that like this person's better than another. It's just I've always felt my parents' pride in me. And I think that's one of the things that I can see in Zuko's uncle. He always sees the best in him, even when he's doing terrible stuff, when he's in a bad place, and he's trying to guide him out of that. So, yes.
Okay.
Avatar.
The next one, I'm gonna go A Great Terrible Father. I think it kind of symbolized our what we kind of talked about, like seeing your child seeing you as a superhero. But then you really not being that superhero. Have you ever seen the movie Love and Basketball?
It's been a while.
Is it? So you kind of can remember. So Quincy has this father who plays in the NBA, and really Quincy's entire goal throughout that movie is to become his father. He wants to play for the Clippers, which they're the worst team in the NBA at the time. They've been the worst team for decades, but he still wants to play for them because his father plays for him. He wants to wear his father's number. He wants to go to the same college that his father did. He wants to be a star basketball. Like every single thing that he does is in comparison to his father. And then he bases his entire life on his father, and then he realizes that his father has been cheating on his mom this entire time. And so all of the advice that his father has given him, while being stellar advice, now becomes terrible advice because of the actions of who I made my father out to be. I made him to be Superman, but my father was more so just kryptonite. So then that causes a chain of effects on his life, that he goes down this path where he really ruins every relationship and every opportunity that he's ever had, which is terrible. So, which is the importance, again, being a great father and always being that man of your word. Like, when I'm giving you advice, be that advice. Because I heard this thing, I don't know who said it, but children don't do what you say, they do what you do.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so, yeah, that was a good terrible father, because he gave stellar advice the entire movie. He just wasn't a good man. He wasn't a good man.
You know what? Sometimes those are the people that have the best advice because they've made all the mistakes. But it's different when, it's
a father.
Sometimes. Yeah. Okay. I think mine is Chuck. I don't know. Have you ever seen Chuck?
It's the movie just called Chuck?
No. It's a series, but yes, it's called Chuck. And it's funny. So Chuck ends up becoming like a secret agent, right?
Okay.
And he's basically orphaned, right? Like he doesn't know anything about his father or his mother, and it takes multiple seasons in the show for you to actually finally meet his father. And you find out that the reason that he wasn't there was because he left to protect his family from being targeted by like organizations and whatnot. And I guess the entire reason that he even becomes a secret agent in the first place is because his father kind of set something in motion in the beginning, and it's because of something that he saw uniquely in Chuck. And I think that him leaving is probably the hardest decision that he ever made, and yet he still did it to protect Chuck. And so I think that sometimes you only see something on the surface level, which is like he left. He wasn't there for a large part of his life. But then when you find the reasoning behind it, you see the intention. And I think the intention was he actually sacrificed something that he wanted as well so that someone could be safe. And I think that's sacrifice is the ultimate thing that you can do as a parent. I know many of the sacrifices that my parents gave for me. I will never know all of them, but I do appreciate the ones that I know of, and I want to put that forth when it's time for me to do that as well.
All right, I think that was a really good segment.
I think so.
Yeah. So I think this brings us to our final segment.
I think so.
What do we learn about each other during this podcast?
For you, I learned how much building is important to you, and it's in a way of something that you may not even benefit from yourself, but like you will have put the stones and foundation forth of this building so that other people benefit from you putting that work in. And this is while you're putting yourself in danger sometimes, like actually doing this, but something that you may not ever reap the benefits of, but it's something that you want to build, and I think your influence, like just in who you are, is to help that place and everyone else flourish, to find that place where we're passionate and to pour sunshine and water into it so we start building as well.
Thank you. I would say the thing that I learned is that it's going to take an extraordinary woman to be with you. It's going to take, extraordinary, because the example that you're going off of, I think when it comes to love, you're comparing it to your parents.
I am.
And your parents have an extraordinary love.
Yes, they do.
Something that like you have mystified that love, and it has lived up to the mist. Like that's the thing. So when we're talking about things it has lived up to it. So
yeah,
whenever you approach a woman or something like that, you're going to be looking for your mom. Like I said, and then when you're approaching how you want to love her, you're going to be looking for that in you of your dad.
Yes.
And that's going to be, like I said, it's going to be tough. They have something very rare.
You're right.
Not undoable, not impossible, but it's going to be tough. So you need someone extraordinary, and you need to be extraordinary, which, good luck, buddy.
Yeah, no, I'm still working on it. Still working on it.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You got a doctorate degree. You can do this, right?
I'll do my best.
Well, I think that's, yeah.
I don't know about you guys. I really enjoyed talking about that, and I hope that you got something from it too.
I do too. So, and if you didn't, tell us about it. Comment.
Tell us how bad we are.
Tell us we're terrible. Yes. Tell us we're great. Tell us the truth. That's all we care about. Hit that subscribe button. Like it.
Yeah.
We're growing this, and it's gonna grow.
And we hope that you grow with us.
Exactly, because we're growing.
Yes. Every day.
Every single day. So, as always, I'm Enoch.
I'm Blair.